Hi, this is Dr. Carol Billing from the University of Idaho, and I teach future CTE teachers. I was asked to cover a couple of these standards, professional standards, for your summer academy, and I thought before I got started, maybe clarifying what these standards are would be helpful. So there was no sarcasm there. I mean, I'm being genuinely honest. Because sometimes these standards in CTE, it's like, oh my goodness, which ones am I supposed to do? And how many are there? And what are there? So this is what we are covering in Summer Academy are your professional standards. So these are the expectations of things you will know when you come out of Inspire. Or if you were to come through any teacher preparation program. That was a CTE program, so that would be either University of Idaho or Idaho State. They have the two CTE teacher prep programs. So the standards we're talking about are things you should know as you are becoming a CTE teacher. Okay, so that's what this is. Professional Standards Commission is the group or the governing body that looks, it says this is what a teacher should look like when they come out of your program. So looking just right here, I hope you can see that. You have core teaching standards, and then there's specific standards for different programs, and then your CTE standards are down here under CTE on page 53, and we'll take a look at those, but they're divided by different disciplines. And then you have art and computers, engineering, all of that good stuff. So you can work with your mentor too. It wouldn't be a bad idea to take a look at this just to be aware of what it is, but these are standards you're expected to learn and know through the program, but not that you're not teaching these. These are not embedded in your curriculum. These are embedded in my curriculum for the courses I teach. But in order to understand why you're watching these videos from us that are based on standard 1, 2, and 3, blah, 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 I wanted you to understand what those standards even were. So a quick glance at the core. These are standards every teacher candidate, no matter what they teach in Idaho, they should be able to do these things. And so if you come down here, standard 1, learner development, understand how learners grow. Okay, and then it's broken down into usually 3 areas, I believe. Knowledge, what do you know? Performance, what can you show? And then disposition is more about how you behave. So those 3 areas are part of the core, and that is expectations for every teacher that comes out of a teacher prep program in the state of Idaho. Now you're going to find there's these layer. There is overlap. So that's the core. And remember, the first one for core is learner development. So now we're going to go to CTE. And here we are, standard 1, learner development. There's some similarities there. But they do differentiate just a little bit once you get past the first few standards. So learner 1 is learner development, learning differences. I believe I'm doing those 2 for you. I'm not sure what else I'm doing. It's all due tomorrow, but that's okay. We're going to make this happen. It's going to be great. You can see that the standards overlap. All right, coming down here, we have performance and knowledge, but I don't think we have any that have disposition. And that's so standard 3, learning environments, it only has a performance piece. And then standard 4, content knowledge, it has knowledge and performance. And, pause me at any point so you can read if I'm going too quick. Because when you have worked in these a lot, you forget how they look the first time. And it can be a little overwhelming. So this one is not specific. Well, here's lab settings. Labs are somewhat specific. Okay, so here's an example. CTSOs. CTSOs are only going to be in CTE programs. So that performance 4H is why they have the second layer or the second level of standards for CTE teachers. So that is what we're talking about when we're talking about these standards. Now, just to add a little more confusion, there are standards for each content area as well. I'm not going over those. We are not going over those in Academy to my knowledge. My task has been just these standards for career CTE teachers. And certainly you can look down at whatever your specific area is and see what else you should be learning in your teacher prep program, and certainly ask questions if you're not learning those things, or work with your mentor to make sure that you do meet those benchmarks. Because I think the importance of understanding what these professional standards mean is this is your set of expectations from the state. This is what the state expects you to know how to do by the time you're done. And if for some reason you're not given that information, you need to ask for it, or ask for it to be repeated or retaught or whatever, to make sure that you are prepared the way you're supposed to be, because that is what we're supposed to do for you. So that is it on professional standards. Now let me show you just one thing real quick. These are your program standards, and this is different. This is what you're expected to teach in your class. Now, I am assuming you're already all over this, because this is how you develop your curriculum and your lessons. Like, what do you need to teach? This is what you need to teach. So I pulled up just one. So the way that you find these is just CTE, Idaho CTE standards, and it'll direct you to this page. Okay, and then you can sort down. I'm not saying you shouldn't look at that stuff, but if I was looking at creating courses for next year right now, and I would go directly to my area. So let's say I'm going to teach accounting. I would click here on program standards. Criticality surveys are surveys they give to industry, and industry looks at a sentence and says, yes, that's an important skill, or no, I'm not so much interested in that skill. So it kind of helps you see where the demand is from industry, assuming the surveys are rather current. So I would look at when the survey was given, and I haven't been in there in a while, so I don't know how current that is. District results are from the tests at the end of the year to show if students learned these program standards. And then there's the result by standard for a couple of different years. You can take a look at those. So that just gives you a gauge on how other districts are doing and their ability to meet these standards. Now, let's take a minute. When you click on standards, you're going to get a download PDF. It's going to look like this. So here is the content standard for Introduction to Accounting. And so it says exactly what they expect you to teach in class. And sometimes you'll be teaching something and I'll meet multiple standards. But I would say, like, as a ballpark, 2 to 3 standards a day is the max. And I'm going to show you in a later video about a software program that I love. It's web-based, called Common Curriculum. And it allows you to apply these standards in a timeline that will show you when you're covering what standard, so that's pretty cool. All right, so this gives you an idea how to use T accounts, explain the variety of source documents, record transactions in a general ledger, right, or general journal, excuse me, post to the general ledger, create a trial balance. So you might post and adjust and close entries in one class. So that's 3 standards you would have in one class. All right, I'm going to stop there because this is not all about standards. But I did find when I started that it seemed like there was a lot of standards. And the key is a program standard versus a professional standard. A professional standard is this one. Professional meaning professional job, Program, professional. Okay, I'm going to stop there, and we'll get going on your first standard.